Hello, friends. Welcome back to Weekly Panel Chewing Pick of the Week. It's the weekly comic book show that Jarrod and I, and sometimes Mike, when he comes back, we talk about the books that are in our pile this week, and we end the episode with our favorite book of the week, which is our pick. And we are also reading the Chris Claremont run of X-Men, which is available for anyone to read for free on Hoopla or Libby. All you need is an account, and all you need to get an account is a library card. That is free and pretty awesome. Those of you not using Hoopla or Libby, I highly recommend taking advantage of all the free stuff that's on there. It's wild. So don't miss out. All that said, Jarrod, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I agree. Libby is Hoopla is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty wild how much free stuff there is out there, which is really nice.
Yeah.
It's not all that current because obviously, like the weekly books, sometimes it takes a week or two to get on. But if you miss a book and you don't have time, you for whatever reason didn't get to it, it's always good to check there before going out and buying it if you want to save yourself a few bucks. So, we'd like to have a topic before we get into our picks. And this week, I wanted to talk about a letter in the back of one of the books I read this week, which is Gehenna. I'm probably mispronouncing that, which is the subtitle is Naked Aggression, which I'm not sure. Well, when you look at the alternate covers, I think you'll see why it's Naked Aggression is there because there's some risque covers. Yeah. So anyway, it's a book, and I'll talk more about it later. But it talked about the first issue a few weeks back. It's a wall-to-wall action story. It reminded me a lot of The Professional, kind of, but with a twist. And the author is Patrick Kindlin, and I'm not familiar with Patrick Kindlin's work, but in the back of the book, he has an article or like a page thanking people for support. For those of you who quote unquote got it, and they set out to do a big genre comic with big action, memorable characters, and a story that moves. And it's a few paragraphs long, but the one paragraph in particular, and I'm quoting from the article that he wrote. I'm of the belief that comics need to be dumb again. And I don't mean low effort or thoughtless. Rather, I'm asking the medium to be less inhibited, be less afraid of looking foolish. The smart guy thing isn't working. Readers don't want to walk through life reflecting on how clever you are. Intelligent isn't a feeling. So it got me thinking today. Uh, really, so on one hand, I get what he's saying. Sometimes you want dumb fun. You want a comic that is, it just like a popcorn movie, like an action movie. You don't want to really think too much. You just want to go in there and have a good time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think where I disagree there is that there's like this smart guy act, or people are trying to appear smarter than they are, or trying to kind of feed into the be too smart for their own good and make themselves look dumb. But he goes on to say a little bit later, there is an issue of Gru the Wanderer that sticks with me, an issue of Silver Surfer that I think touched something real, and an issue of Daredevil that made me feel. These are all smartly done bits of comic book craft, but they didn't resonate with me because I wasn't wowed by the creator's brain power. So, on one hand, I think there's something to say about taking yourself too seriously, and I get that. I think we've read novels before, and I think you try too hard to appear intellectual or whatever, but I think most readers can snuff that out when someone's trying too hard or trying to, kind of they're out of their depth, I guess. But as we'll talk later, there's a book that I think is unlike any book I've read, and I appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate the effort to push the boundaries of comic books, to push the boundaries of the art form, and to do something new and to blaze new trails. So I don't know that it's always nice to have both, of course, but I don't know that there's any shame in that. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's plenty of dumb movies out, so
Yeah.
we can always go watch those instead.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious what he. I would need to know what he defines as a dumb comic, because like you don't get dumber than Gru, uh, in a lot of the times, you know. And
Yeah.
I understand that Gru disguises a lot of his dumb stories with some social commentary, and I I don't know what exactly he means by dumb. Like we're rereading the X-Men comics right now.
Hmm.
Are those dumb compared to what we're reading today? I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think
No,
so.
I don't think so. I think they're clever, and I think I mean we talk about kind of them being a little goofy or kind of being a little playful in a way, but
Sure.
I don't think it's I don't think it's in a way that they want to appear. Like it's not just dumb fun. There's a purpose to it. There's a plot line. There's a narrative that they're following. There's a plan that they're following through with, and I think some books like Gehenna, or I'm probably mispronouncing the name, but there's books like that that are wall to wall action, gunplay, people shooting at each other, which is fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think the other issue, and not to steer too far off the topic, but I think another issue is the time and investment ratio for comics. Because if you have a book that is wall to wall action, you'll probably finish it in about 5 minutes, give or 5 to 10 minutes, give or take. If you have a book like another book on our list, Vanishing Point, it's the same amount of pages, but you take longer and you absorb more. You have something to walk away with, and when you're paying the cover price of four, five, six,
Yeah.
$7, you're asking a lot
That's
from someone to, you know,
that's the key right there, Steve. Is the price of comics today is a lot. It's a lot that goes into them, and there's a lot of money that people have to shell out for these things. And if you have a book that takes you 5 minutes to go through, then I mean, what are you paying for per minute? You're literally paying $1 a minute, um, for what you picked up. And I think um, I think it's natural for a medium to grow and expand and to become more, to diversify in ways that appeals to multiple people. And most of your base that's reading comics grew up with them and is growing with the medium as well. And so there's a difference between dumb comics and having comics targeted towards a younger audience that will attract them. And I don't think the two have to go hand in hand. I think you can have smart young adult or young or even younger focused comics. So I'm just wondering. I don't know where he's coming from with the dumb comic thing. I get sometimes that you want to have a comic with just wall to wall action, but even those can be smart if they're unique and clever and have something about them that makes them different from what has gone on before. So, I wouldn't call anything that Stan Lee started at Marvel dumb. It was different than what we have now because times have changed, but it was quite unique and resonated with a lot of people back then.
mhm. Yeah, when we talk every week about the amount of, I mean, for as many books as we praise, and we praise a lot of books we read, I would say there's a lot of books that aren't good. And are some of those books bad because people try to kind of overextend themselves, or tell a story that they want to appear to be quote unquote deep or emotional or whatever is, and they're failing at? Is that part of the maybe? I don't. I don't know. I
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I had one last week that I totally lost the thread of the story, and maybe maybe that was part of the problem, is they were trying to do something in an experimental way that just didn't quite work with the medium, and it didn't gel well. Whereas, the book, our pick of the week this week, is something that I think you would agree, gels extremely well. It's extremely relevant, and it's gonna stick with me.
hmm
Um, and I think, I don't think is in anybody's mindset would they call it a dumb comic. So, um, yeah, it's. I, I mean, I guess I would need more explanation from
yeah,
this guy to see where he's coming from.
yeah. It got me thinking today after I read it. I read it this morning, and it kind of made me think about his point. And not to say, I don't think he's necessarily wrong. I wouldn't say he's wrong. I just would be interested to have that conversation to kind of, like you said, just to kind of, what I think there's room for both, right? I mean, if you want a comic with wall to wall action, that's cool. I mean, there's room for that too. I mean, I don't think there needs to be less of anything. If there's an audience for it, then it'll
Hmm.
exist. I mean, there's a lot of books I don't like that exist and do really well, but good for them. I don't think they shouldn't exist. It's, people who like it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot that I don't. Maybe they. I don't like that term, dumb comic. I just don't like
Yeah.
that. Comics are cool. Why would they be dumb? But
Yeah,
um,
I think he's mean like dumb fun or dumb
yeah,
like
yeah. I'm sure
genre, like a
it's
genre
yeah,
book.
yeah. I'm sure it's something along those lines, and maybe he. I mean, if his point is that people take like superheroes too seriously, then that's a point well made.
Yeah,
They
I can
do.
see that. Yeah.
Your your various events, and people who get up in arms when they do a little change to a character and stuff like that, and that's but that's a complaint that's been going on for, since I've been in comics. So it's there's nothing new there as far as complaining about um, some superheroes being taken too seriously, and people taking their superheroes too seriously as far as what they think their version of a superhero should be. And so if that's where he's getting at, then I get that. But I really like my intelligent comics that I read, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's be where's he coming from, basically.
Yeah, it's a good point about. I didn't really think of it in superhero comics terms. I thought of it, but I think you're right. Is that when you have 4 or 5 Batman titles, and I think everyone's trying to do something different. When you have how many decades of Batman stories, how do you stick out? How do you make an impact? Especially as a writer
Mm,
who getting on a Batman book is a big deal. So you want to do something that's going to be memorable. And so I think, yeah, I can see that. I can see some superhero comics that just try too hard to do too much. But I think in the more in more creator owned space, that's kind of why I think both of us gravitate more towards that side of it, because there's so many different things happening, and it's not confined to the superhero genre.
yeah, good point. Yep.
Well, that's it. I thought it was a good. I wanted to ask you about that, but get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's I wonder. It makes me wonder what it is. I mean, I don't know the tone of the piece because I didn't read it, but does it seem like he's frustrated, or does it seem like he's just um, saying, "Here's what I'm doing," read this instead of that stuff. Um,
It's the way I took it was he was, I think he's grateful that people he has found an audience and people, understood what he was doing. He's trying to do something fun, and like a genre piece that's just action and try not to do. He's trying not to do too much with it. It's just telling a story, which I think it was more of a positive kind of, I think I'm glad I found an audience, and thanks for this is what we're doing here. And it's hard to get tone and like a context
Hmm.
in text and you're reading it. So, but if Patrick, if you're listening, let us know. We'd love to talk to you about it.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be a fun discussion, and yeah, there's room for everything. So, but anyway, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll get into the piles
The
today.
piles of
The
stuff.
piles of stuff. The first one for me is Catacombs of Torment. It's a new anthology series. This is number one. It's by EC, I believe EC Comics. It's the same as the other. What was it? The other anthology, the fantasy series we were reading.
All right. Yeah.
So this is a horror one, and there's four short stories. Sadly, none of them really did much for me. There was a few. There was some social commentary that made me laugh. That was pretty lighthearted, and it was okay, but it just didn't do much for me. Unfortunately, I just didn't like the stories all that much, and so it was more of a holding a mirror up to ourselves, to holding a mirror up and kind of saying how ridiculous we all are sometimes. And in that sense, it was okay, but um, yeah, not a lot of yeah. I'm not sure about this one, so we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. So this was another EC comic. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like that they're bringing those back. I just,
Yeah, yeah,
you hope for. I think short story compilations like this are hit or miss.
yeah, yeah. They are sure.
All right. Well, my first one today is it's called Collexit, I think. The Battle of Universal City, number one from Black Mask
Hmm.
Studios, and I was I was fooled by this comic because I read the description in the catalog, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty cool." And I got it, and I realized that it's not a real number one. It's a new series in an ongoing series. So fortunately, they had this big what went on before in the front of the cover there,
Hmm.
and so at first I was just like, oh, I felt a little cheated, but I read the what went on before, and I got right into the story, and it was perfectly understandable. So
Hmm.
fortunately, it didn't derail uh, my enjoyment of the book, and it's an interesting premise. It takes place in the like tomorrow, you know, in an alternate world where California has succeeded from the Union.
Oh.
And so there's a big civil war going on in California in this book, basically,
Hmm.
and so it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of social topics brought up, but it doesn't dwell too much on the big picture politics. It focuses more on a couple of characters, and they're trying to get from one place to the next, and it's focusing on their troubles and trials and tribulations and stuff like that. And so the story was pretty cool. Um, the uh, the artwork was pretty good. It's not it's like not my art of the week, but it's pretty good. It definitely gets the point across, and I like that aspect of it. I'm very interested to see where it goes with
Hmm.
this book. There's a lot of cultural uh, Easter eggs put in here. They have Wonder Woman costume thrown in, a Scooby Doo outfit. There's a
Hmm.
lot of Simpsons, guy is in the background somewhere, and so they're having a lot of fun with all of our cultural what do you call that? Uh, anyways, the
Like the cultural, like the entertainment icons,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah. Especially since it takes place near Universal Studios and stuff like that in the book. So it was fun. It was good, interesting sort of first issue, and
Yeah.
I'll be interested in how it goes from here.
Oh wow, that's a good one. That sounds like a
Yeah.
fairly positive. The next one for me is Crush Depth number 5. This is by Mad Cave Studios, the last issue of the series. And for some reason, I thought this was going on, or that there was gonna. This is the first arc, and it was going to continue. But it looks like this is the end of the series. It was a pretty satisfying conclusion to the story. The Our surviving characters have to make a choice on what path to take and who lives and who dies, or kind of handle the catastrophe that's going on. Trying to be non-spoilery here, but um,
Yeah.
the only complaint I have about this series, because of the conclusion, because it came down to really character dynamics and character traits, is I wish we would have had like maybe one more issue to develop the characters and their interactions a little bit more, to kind of build that kind of build it to it would have more impact at the end. And it was still good, but it would have. I feel like it would have been a little bit better, but it's a small complaint. Overall, I think the story was a fun, deep water or deep sea horror science fiction story. The art was really good, and the colors were really good in this book. I love the neon and the different shades they used. So yeah, overall, this is a book I'll get the trade of and be nice to have on the shelf. So
Hmm.
overall, it was a good conclusion.
Yeah. Excellent. Another
Yeah,
positive.
yeah, yeah. Not bad. Not bad. There we go. Too many buttons for me. Let's see. Okay, so the next one I have really quickly is the book that we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, which is Gihana Naked Aggression number 2, and the naked aggression. Like I said, I realized why they call it, why it's the subtitle with some of the covers they have. But anyway, it reminded me of The Professional. It's a woman who is out for revenge, and it's just wall to wall action. It is action packed. It's an action packed crime story. The first issue, I had more of a gritty crime feel to it, like more of a down to earth, grounded type of story. In this issue, it gets a little bit ridiculous, and intentionally ridiculous, intentionally goofy, intentionally kind of, it jumps the shark a little bit with the feel of the story. So of course it was. I'm not saying goofy, or jumps the shark in a negative way. It's part of the story. And yeah, you know it was okay. I mean, it's tough when you, like we mentioned earlier, the cost to time investment with comics, and when you finish a book in 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes it's kind of a bummer. But there's some funny moments in it. There was some, I think it's I like the art, but this one's it's going to be a last minute decision if I'll continue this one. I'm just not sure that this one's for me. But yeah, that's this one.
Alrighty. Uh, well, next up we have
So the next one,
Vanishing
I
Point.
believe, is Vanishing Point 3, right?
Yes. All right. Uh, so Vanishing Point number 3. Um, I think this is another solid entry into the Vanishing Point, series so far. Um, and it's written by Mark Russell, art by Alberto Ponticelli from Mad Cave Comics. And this was I'm really digging these science fiction one shots we're getting these
Hmm.
days, and this is a good one, and I really enjoyed this the setup in here, the concept, this kind of like prison experiment area where they're experimenting on different species, what have you,
Hmm.
and it really had a nice like resonating tone of the depths that you know we'll go to for experimentation on regardless of how the experimentees feel,
Yeah.
and it just it hit pretty good. It really hit all the beats, and I love the little twists and turns that they had the story had, and I just thought it was a very powerful message and a very satisfying story all around.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Vanishing Point. I think every issue has been pretty good. And if not for the book we read this week, I think this would have been it probably would have been my pick. I think
Yeah,
you mentioned that
I
too.
was bordering on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. For me, it was the story. It was on the first page, and this isn't a spoiler, but on the first page it says Earth, and I missed that. And I when I got to the end
Oh
of the book, I
yeah.
went back to reread it, and then it totally reframed my whole thought process on the book. But for me, it was about like you mentioned, different species, how we how we treat things we don't understand, how we know how life and life think living species, their quest for freedom and their quest to survive and their quest to just exist, and that kind of spirit that keeps everyone alive, uh,
Mhm.
and going and trying to fight against oppression and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of different angles to this one, and the story, you could read it and just enjoy the story for what it is. There are some twists and turns I didn't see coming, but yeah, I think there's a lot to take away if you really wanted to dig into it.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think it's something you could just read and put down and not think about it again if you wanted to, because it has some nice pretty artwork
Mm,
and it flows very well. But you said it when you said you went back for a reread and you got
mhm.
like more out of it, and there's some deep stuff going on there.
Yeah, I think especially the conclusion of the story, knowing that it's on Earth, and like I said, it's on the first page, so I'm trying not to spoil too much. But I wonder how that conclusion, kind of what they're kind of trying to tell us.
Yeah, it's hard to say anything without
Yeah,
spoiling it, but
yeah, but I don't think anyone has the answer. It's fun to kind of theorize about it.
yeah,
But yeah, if you're not reading Vanishing Point and you like science fiction, and like these one shot stories, really good, really good.
yep.
So the next one for me is Medieval Spawn #4. So this is the end of the first arc. So to recap, this series is about Spawn and his band of fighters that they're fighting demons, or like demon fighters, and they are killing demons. And they find this boy whose family was killed. They pick him up. They rescue him, and the entire time they're always hinting at something with him, that there's some kind of, in the future they didn't see this coming, or in the future that I wish I would have known this, or I wish I would have known that. There's all this buildup, and at the end of the issue, it is not. There's no payoff, and it really was frustrating for me. And I won't say what the last line was, but it kind of pissed me off, because when you tease something for 4 issues and then you say, "Oh well," and you don't pay. There's no payoff. It's frustrating. I really like the artwork. I think the artwork's great. The story just isn't. It's. I hate to say, Spawn books just. I haven't found one that really, really gripped me. And I've been reading Spawn for 30 years, so, or however many, 25 years. So anyway, the art's great, but it's light on story, and it seems like it's par for the course for Spawn stories. So
No sound effect. No
Just crickets.
crickets. All right. Next up, for a little more story, we have Minor Arcana number 9, and this was another just nice issue of Minor Arcana. We get a few more revelations about our main character's life and her situation and what she's capable of. Um, and a little bit more delving into that, a little bit more delving into her mother's situation. She kind of found a new boyfriend, and there's some ramifications about that.
Hmm.
And you know, you get those more some more hints and warnings about the big picture. But we still really haven't gotten that big picture yet. But in this issue, I didn't mind because there was actually a lot going on with her characterization and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and I actually enjoyed it. And there was something that um, there was something at the end that just, if you go back, you had to go back and look at the book again and read through what's happening with her and the end and how it ties into the end. And I think there's something going on there, and
Hmm.
I'm suspecting something, and I liked it. I enjoyed this issue much better than the last two, I would say. So things are looking up for this book as usual. I mean, it started out so great, and it's just been chugging along at a great pace, and it's solid stuff.
Yeah, I think I haven't read the this issue yet, but it feels like we kind of hit a lull a little bit
A
with the
little
last
bit,
couple
yeah.
issues. Like did a really good job establishing everybody, and then it kind of downshifted a little bit. But I'm glad to hear that it's picking up again.
I think so. I mean, unless they lull again in number 10, we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully not. But you
But I
know,
really liked this one. This was some. It was pretty good. I was in the mood for it, I guess maybe.
yes, yeah, I really like that story. I really like that book. The next one for me is Spectrograph. You can pronounce that right. Number 2 by Distillery Comics. This is about a house that is much more than what it appears. A real estate agent who is trying to sell the house, who made some very bad decisions as a mother, and a person, an assistant, who is showing her the house or wanting to see the house. And it gets even creepier, and you learn a lot more about history of this assistant. You hear more about kind of the purpose of the house and what it's about, the person behind it, and what's going on in the book. And yeah, it's pretty good. I mean,
Mhm.
it's getting creepier. It's not it's presenting new questions, but it's answering questions at the same time. So I think a lot of stories fall into that trap of questions and questions and questions and questions. But I think it has a good balance of giving us information and then creating more mystery without it being too much on one side. So, but overall, I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, I really liked that issue. It's really fun. Yep. So, speaking of questions, we have White Boat number 1, also from Distillery Comics, and written by Scott Snyder, who's Batman fame,
Mhm.
and art by Francesco Francavilla.
Mhm.
Um, really good artist. So I, got we got this from our friends at Distillery, and it was a good start. It had this this tragic beginning that leads into a mystery, and then we get a whole bunch of weird questions thrown at us. And it's really interesting because it deals with like this big history of all this secret stuff going on. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about this secret history, this secret boat, basically,
Mhm.
who's that's had you know. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but it's It was interesting how it was our character was drawn into this and what's going on, and it has a really big whammy at the end of it saying that it was like, oh, okay, where did that come? Where's that coming from? Where's that going? And so I'm it definitely leaves you wanting the next issue because there's a lot to find out.
Hmm. Yeah, a quick mention about distillery books and something that I appreciate about them is that there's just a little bit of a spine on the book when you buy the physical books, and you can put them on the shelf. And it, like, I appreciate that
Hmm.
because it's having a lot of long boxes kind of sucks, but it's nice to have them on the shelf and have a little bit of a spine. It's tiny, but it's a spine.
Could have a lot of shells too now.
Yeah, they're thin too, thankfully. But
Yeah,
Snyder, I think, I wonder, he used to be known for American Vampire, and then
yeah.
he did the Batman run, which I remember enjoying. But I think American Vampire might be his. If you were to ask me what his you know, what his defining work would be, American Vampire, maybe because it's creator owned.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he's been hit or miss with me with the
Yeah,
various Batman titles and various different things he's done. But if this is, this is just, I'm assuming this is creator owned as well. Um, so if he's putting the same kind of energy into this that he did in American Vampire, then it promises to be a good ride, anyways.
yeah, good stuff. So the next one for me, before we get into our picks, or our pick, is the Terminator #9. This is by Dynamite Comics. Let me just say, if you're a fan of the Terminator franchise, if you not even a fan, if you just like the franchise and the whole mythos, the Terminator universe interests you, read this book. It's really good. It's kind of bite-sized stories that are around the existing Terminator stories, like the movies, and they're kind of, they can, it sounds like they're like little, missions, little things that are happening around the main story, and then they all start to connect, and they all start to have more meaning and feel substantial on their own. Sometimes they feel like an offshoot, or kind of like inconsequential, but they all start to come together, and we get perspectives from the Terminator, from Skynet, and to have that perspective is kind of neat, to kind of to peek behind the curtain and see how Skynet works and how it operates and how it learns and how it makes decisions. But this one is one that it's, I won't say too much. It's leading up to Judgment Day, and kind of the events that happen before, when the decision is made to initiate Judgment Day. So I mean, it's not like, again, I don't think this, going back to our initial topic, it's this one, I don't think is an over, trying to be over intellectual, or trying to be too smart for its own good. There's action, there's story, there's things that they're doing, but I don't think they're trying to do too much. I think it's just a good solid book. So yeah, The Terminator. It's a good series.
Nice.
So it's time for the pick of the week. Yes, it is that
Yeah.
time again. And I don't, we were posting on the forum what we were reading, and I knew right away what this is going to be.
Yeah. Uh, it's almost unfair how good this book is compared to everything else in the world right
It
now.
really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it blows my mind what they're doing with this book.
Yeah.
Every issue has been like this. There hasn't been a bad issue.
Yeah. It's incredible, and I think they mentioned in the back at the end that they're going to be collecting the first five in in a trade.
I will be buying
Um,
that for sure.
so that if you haven't jumped on this series yet, then that would be the time to do it. But do yourself a favor and read them nice and slow, one at a time, because you will get. There's so much in each issue to get out of these things, and I was just amazed again at this issue, at the artwork, the coloring, and how it ties the story together, how it works so seamlessly
Mhm.
with what the writer is doing. And I don't know. I imagine there has to be a high level of collaboration between these two guys to pull this off the way they do. And it is just incredible. It really is. And this, I think, is the first. Well, no, it's not the first. It's an issue that has kind of a recurring character that I'm not even sure if I because I thought I recognized him in another issue earlier,
Mhm.
but I'm pretty sure he was in the first issue,
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
and now I'm like, oh, okay, there is a thread here. It's very very faint, and I don't think it's necessary to know that to enjoy this story, because this story has so many levels that you can just enjoy it on its own. But it was just nice seeing that little bit of a tie-in, and for the for us who have been paying attention since the
Mhm.
beginning. And man, and that's just the window dressing I'm talking about
Yeah.
here. This man, this the story in this book was wow, moving, powerful, just like it's just like unbelievable how it brought forth this sense of um, living life on repeat and how that looks to anyone really. It's just amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, so those who aren't may not be familiar with this series. It's a book about kind of like the different comic book crisis events that happen. Just normal people, how they deal with these events and how they're affected by it. And this young woman, this young girl, is reliving this moment over and over and over again, and how to deal with that. And the way that you read, first of all, if you're reading this book on digital, lock your screen because you'll be flipping your tablet upside down. Because I had that problem. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
lock your screen because you'll be turning this book upside down and sideways and the other way around.
Yeah.
But the layout, the way that the panels are structured, the layouts, the way that the way that it flows with the text, and I mean, it's I mean, it sounds hyperbolic. It sounds hyperbolic, but this is kind of reinventing. You know, I don't think I've ever read anything like it.
Yeah. I have. It does remind me of Alan Moore did this a little bit with the book Promethea, and there was a lot of experimentation with J.H. Williams III on the artwork in that book, and how you read the actual pages and stuff. And this book definitely takes that and runs with it. Um, yeah, you're right, because I was literally turning the book upside down and sideways and following following not just because sometimes the actual text boxes were upside down, but also just following the artwork and her journey, and it pulled you to do that, and the that symbolism right off the bat in the first page of that the eight pointed fan,
Mhm.
that, and the fan basically the whole book represents that fan turning, and that's the focus of what she's seeing in the middle of her crisis event in those 60 seconds that she's living over and over again. And it was so well done. So well done.
I think there's one part of it that is the creativity and the execution of it. There's also the every issue in the series manages to make it relatable or manages to make it impactful for
Yeah.
anyone to read, no matter who you are. You can find a way to relate or to be moved by the story. I think it's one of those that anybody reading it can be kind of have that emotional impact when they read it because it's the human experience. Everyone's
Yeah.
gone through these kind of things. Everyone can relate to it in some way. So I mean, that's every issue that they've done. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's especially how it relates to how we live today.
Mm.
Because who hasn't felt trapped in that loop of waking up, going to work, coming home, eating dinner, getting ready for the next day, waking up,
Oh
and
yeah.
and that's kind of what the theme that's reflected in here is. But hers, of course, is a more immediate crisis type of loop like that. But it really, like you said, it makes you relate to her and her situation because they're talking about that human condition that we're in nowadays, where everything is about the clock, and they have a whole page with a
Mm.
clock, and everything is about that time and that and keeping track of that, and that's where she's trapped in keeping track of that, and it's just wonderful, wonderful stuff.
It's amazing. It's so good. So good. It's wild. I don't know how they pick awards winners and stuff, but I'm assuming this is going to win some awards because every issue has been a banger.
Yeah, yeah,
Every issue has
it's
been.
by far it's my favorite comic book of the year,
Mm.
and I would be hard pressed to see anything coming out the rest of this year that would top this. There's just
Yeah,
no way.
it's been every especially this issue. There's a range of emotions going through it when you read it. There's like this despair, and then there's this hopefulness, and then it's just it. You have so many different emotions reading it. It's I mean, kudos because amazing, amazing book, so good. If you're not reading assorted crisis events, go read it. You don't
Yeah,
have to start with issue one. You can start off.
yeah,
Issue one does give you some background, so you can read that for context, but you can pick up pretty much any issue if you know the general idea behind it.
yeah. Any issue is going to give you a lot, a whole lot. I'm looking forward to going back and reading it again because it's that good that I want to read it again that quickly.
Hmm. I mean, I think we could even break down each issue. I think we could sit there and really there's so much in each
Yeah,
issue that you can sit down and break it down and spend time kind of page by page, panel by panel
yeah. If
that
we
you
wanted to
can.
get into spoilers, yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. So okay, well, I think we've said go read it. So with all that said, we're on to X-Men 123 and 124. And just for quick notice, next week, in the next issue in the collection is the annual. So we'll be reading the annual and issue 125. So for next week, if you're reading along with us, that's your assignment for this week.
Yeah, annual number 3. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So number 123.
Mhm.
Um, we got into some of that goofy, silly stuff that
Yeah.
we've been talking about. Um,
Yeah. And a
where,
cameo.
where, yes, we got Spider-Man cameo, and where Spidey recognizes the villain because the sound the truck makes.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. Uh, and then, and the way that the X-Men are captured with the silly truck, it was too much. I was just like, what is going on here?
Yeah. It looked like a big dump truck.
Uh, and then you got Spidey's got like, I gotta call somebody, and he's calling the mansion from a payphone. It was just hilarious. Oh,
He talks about eating or being able to afford a Big Mac and fries.
yeah. Oh man. So this is what we were talking about earlier, right? Comics
Mhm.
that don't take themselves too seriously,
Yeah. Yeah.
and because and then this villain Arcade, of course, captures them all, and it's a very similar situation to what we've seen before. The X-Men are captured. They got to try to find a way out. We have this danger room replicant that the villain makes Arcade, and um, the and they have to get out of it, and so it. I don't know. These two issues, 123, 124, they were kind of dumb for me.
Yeah.
I did not get into them like I have been with some of the previous issues we've had that were pretty cool. Um, Colossus getting brainwashed to be a proletarian, and
That made me laugh. During this time is what the cold. This is the Cold War, right? Around
sure.
this time.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that was like, whoa, okay, all
It,
right.
the thing is, he brought up a real question, like why would this guy from Russia join a U.S. based team? Like,
Yeah,
that's a
I
real
mean,
question that could be explored. He didn't really do it. He just kind of threw it in there as window dressing, and
yeah.
because he wanted the proletarian.
He wanted the sickle and iron sickle on the uniform. Yeah, that made me
Uh,
laugh. Then he
it
stepped out with a proletarian thing.
it does make me laugh.
That was really goofy.
Yeah, and the whole issue 124 was just a big dumb danger room issue
Mhm.
that finally ended and
Mercifully ended. Yeah.
mercifully ended. Yeah, we had an ending at least, and I was like, okay, all right, we're done with this stuff now. And I saw the cover for 125,
Mhm.
and I was like, all right, here we go,
Oh shit.
because it had some Jean Grey doing, and it had that little darker looking Phoenix on the cover of
Mm.
125. So I was like, all right, well,
So yeah.
we got this silly stuff
Oh
out of the way.
yes, the
So it's
dramatic
fun.
return.
It's
Yes,
fun to laugh at, but oh man,
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we're starting up.
yeah.
Maybe yeah, maybe these were more like filler. This these are more kind of filler leading up to this huge event. So
I was wondering about that because usually when you have filler issues, you have like a different artist, but
mm,
it was still John Byrne,
it's true.
and they're still they co-plot this stuff together, and Claremont writes the dialogue and stuff, and Byrne
Mm.
draws it. So I was like, were they just did they want to just get something out of him before they got onto the Dark Phoenix stuff, or I don't know. I was just trying to think of what they were doing. I mean, it could have been an editorial mandate for all we know. I have no idea, but
Could have been, yeah. Could have been
because
because they wanted to get cameos in.
and yeah, you may be right. That might have been yeah. We need some Spider Man.
Mhm.
We need and there was some other people in there too, but
Yeah.
uh, and because they did mention in the editorial notes, as last seen in this issue and as last seen in that issue,
Yeah.
somewhere along the lines, and we know that back then there was a lot more editorial control over content than there is nowadays, where creators nowadays have a lot more input
Oh, yeah.
into what's going on. But that's it's just interesting. It's interesting looking back and seeing these kind of goofy issues and just laughing at them.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I enjoy the kind of villain of the week thing, I'm really looking forward to getting started with the
Yeah,
Phoenix stuff.
yeah, me too. So we have an annual number 3, which looks interesting because it's drawn by George Perez,
Hmm.
who is another up and coming star artist back in these days.
Hmm.
So that be I'm interested to read that. Yeah,
Yes, we're getting into the good stuff here very soon. Everybody reading along.
indeed.
Yeah, stuff. Yes, I think that's it for this week. You have anything else, Jared?
I am good.
Cool. So we will. Well, if you'd like to get in touch with us to give us recommendations or give us your thoughts on books we should be reading or tell us how wrong we are about something, there's a link below. You can send a message directly or you can join our forums at our website, patreon.com. There's articles and reviews, movie reviews, comic book reviews, lots of other content being posted on the blog. Go check that out. And yeah, we'd love to hear recommendations if you have any for us. But we hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we hope you find your pick of the week.
Bye bye.